Well, maybe it's become easy because now people have GPS and get around more easily.
Yeah, but still there's a good option to get lost, and then it's not so easy. Yeah.
Dear listener, dear viewer, welcome to episode number 5 of the Boat Bike Tours podcast. My name is Mark Schalekamp. I'm a writer and journalist from the Netherlands, as you could hear from my accent. Let me introduce our guest, Catharina Fläming. She's working in the field for 18 years already, and she's really a specialist because, and let me tell you a bit about her background, she studied classical archaeology, art history and ancient history in Tübingen, in Germany. Catharina is from Germany. In Athens and in Cologne. She's been working for almost 20 years as an island hopping tour guide and marketing and product manager as well. To say she loves the boat bike tours is a major understatement, I'd say. And within the specialization in ancient Greece, both in the culture and in the landscape itself, by art history and archaeology, you can say that Greece is truly your second home. Welcome. Today the subject is the different ways of tours one can do with boat bike tours. Welcome, Catharina. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Kalispera.
Kalispera.
In these 18 years, what has been your most memorable moment or travels? Could you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah. As you can imagine, after 18 years, it's not easy to point out a single moment. Yeah, it's so many experiences that I can look back to. And I have to say, the highlight forever will be Greece itself. Yeah, the landscape, this incredible blue sea. Dolphins visiting us all the time, traveling from island to island with boat bike tours, which makes it very special because you can't have it your own. If you try to do it with ferries, it will not work. You will not have the same experience. And just having these boats with us as a floating accommodation is, to me, it will always be special. I cannot imagine a better way to travel.
I can imagine. And of course, we all know Greece from the islands. So boats is, I can imagine you go to Greece by boat. But biking as well, the islands, they're very mountainous, right?
Very mountainous, that's right. Yeah, Greece is consisting for 80% of mountains. So it's really a very mountainous country. This is what most people don't have in mind, because everyone thinks about just the blue sea, which is true. But there are some mountains too, yeah.
So how easy or difficult is it to be on a bike when you go off the boat?
I think it depends very much on which bike you are.
That's true, yeah.
So if you decide on doing it on a regular bike, it's going to be challenging, yeah? We have to be honest. Yeah. If you do it on an e-bike, you will probably do very well.
Yeah. I understand. But these e-bikes, they're relatively new. I mean, since when are you using them?
We are using e-bikes for about 10 years now.
Before it was normal bikes.
It was all normal bikes. We had some extremely long bike rides due to this fact, because they were all on normal bikes. So I remember a guest coming to me, introducing himself, and he said to me, I am Erich, I'm from Germany, and I walk every mountain up. Yeah, okay. Then you just walk, no problem. Yeah, so the bike tours took longer, but it was also more about, yes, we can do it. And everyone was happy to reach the top. It was a different feeling from now, yeah.
Yeah. And has it changed also the type of guests? I mean...
Yes, yes, of course.
Tell me a bit about it, please.
Actually, now more people have the opportunity to be part of the experience of a boat bike tour, because the e-bike makes it easier. So it's not all about age. It's not really depending on age, but it is more about people's trust, self-confidence in themselves, that they can do it, that they can also enjoy what they do. It's not only, okay, we do it and we don't like it, but we have to. Now people stop more, take more pictures. families, whole families participate, which we hadn't before because, for kids or older people was actually indeed too challenging. So it changed a lot. Yeah.
And for you as well, how did you got to start in this line of work? How did it happen?
It was actually not really my plan.
As it goes in life?
As it goes in life, yeah. Before that, I was working at the German Archaeological Institute in Athens for about 5 years. It was a limited contract, but when it was finished, I returned to Germany, still having in mind being an archaeologist and only an archaeologist. But then I realized that weather in Germany is by far worse than I had it in mind.
Is that true? Is that a fact?
Yes,
okay.
That's a fact, yes.
How often does it rain in Greece?
In Greece?
Once a year?
No, a little bit more.
Okay.
Yes, but not so often. Well, in Germany, you have to ask the opposite question. How often does the sun shine?
Nie.
Exactly. So, and then I was actually looking for a job that would bring regularly back to Greece, and tour guiding was, of course, with my background, my studies, a very good option. So I was doing a little internet research. Internet was already existing back then. And the first thing that popped up was island hopping. Yeah, and I said, okay, sounds really good, but biking?
Yeah.
And then I tried it, and it really changed completely my perspective. I knew Greece already very well because I was traveling a lot while I was working at the German Institute. But when I saw it by bike, it changed my world. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yes.
You being an archaeologist, it must be very interesting to have you as a tour guide. I mean, you look at things, at landscape with different view from normal people, I guess.
I guess so too. And actually, I really enjoy it to share my knowledge with people as long as they want to know. I always tell them if I'm too overwhelming with facts and explanations, tell me. But actually, the opposite happens. Tell us more, tell us more, tell us more. Yeah, it's really nice. And I have a special love for Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Which is to me the explanation of the world, and people really like that legends a lot.
Yeah. So you tell them about Zeus and
Zeus and all these 100,000 other gods and heroes.
Yes, they're fascinating stories.
Yes.
Yeah, but tell me, how does it go? You get off the boat on a bike, and then you point at some ruins, and then you give us a story about it.
Yeah, normally a normal boat bike tour's day in Greece goes like that. That we try to bike in the morning as long as the schedule allows it. So after breakfast, we get all the bikes off. And then we hop on these bikes and we do a loop of the island, or one A to B tour, in order to experience as much as possible from the islands. And since I was scheduling most of the tours myself that we offer in Greece, I, of course, wanted to ensure that people will see as much as possible. And culture is, of course, an important part. So wherever there is something interesting to see, which is not only ancient stuff. In Greece, we have such a long history. So we also stop at monasteries, at traditional coffee shops that are part of culture, or when we have the chance to visit a traditional museum like an olive press museum or a winery. It's all part of culture. It's not only ruins. Yeah. So we try to have a stop like this at all bike tours, and of course we stop at beautiful panoramic views. We explain what they see, what is the connection in between all these places. Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
Of all these islands, what's your favorite? Maybe
it's a very difficult question to
I'm
answer.
asking you.
Yes, I know.
Actually, your top three, maybe.
My top three, yeah, that's easier because in Greece, the landscape is very different from each other. So when you're on the western side of Greece, where the Ionian Islands are located, it's super green and blue. Yeah, and when I have to point out there, my favorite island is Ithaca, the homeland of Odysseus.
Yeah.
When we go to the Cyclades, where you have all these picture book Greece with the white cubic houses, blue doors and window shutters, then it's definitely Sifnos. Sifnos, a very beautiful island, very well known for pottery.
Okay.
And if it comes to the Dodecanese, which are close to the Turkish coast,
Yeah.
then it's definitely Simi.
Simi.
Simi, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are all smaller islands, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. I love the smaller ones because there you can see authentic Greece. Of course, also the islands with great names like Mykonos, Santorini, Naxos, Paros. They are nice islands, but not for me.
No.
No, because there you don't experience everyday's life in Greece. You don't have this friendliness, that this overwhelming hospitality that Greek people normally have, because people are just tired from mass tourism.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe they're not used to seeing tourists coming by on a bicycle. That's maybe new to them.
They're very excited about it. Very excited about it. They actually, in our first years, it happened quite often that local people stopped us on the way and said, "Don't go further, don't go further." Why? There's a mountain coming.
Ah.
Very sweet, yes.
On what boats do you sail usually? What is it? Yeah, when you go to the islands.
Okay, in Greece we have the main difference between the other regions where boat bike tours is offering tours is that in Greece we mainly work with very small boats. So for up to 22 people the most.
That's not that small. I mean, there's cabins and 20 people.
Yeah, it's 11 cabins, the biggest one.
Yeah.
But we have also a very small one that has only 6 cabins.
Yeah.
I think it's actually surprising that in Greece, where you have so many islands and such a long tradition in seafaring and trading all over the world, we don't have boats that can accommodate more passengers. We would have to build one on our own, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. There are only smaller ones.
Yes. Yeah. And not many. So of the 10 existing that would work for our concept, we already have 3. So. Yeah.
And your number 5. I've spoke with 4 of your colleagues before, and some of them were tour guides, and all of them had secrets they wouldn't share with other guides during their tours.
Why?
Well, why? Because I don't know, but maybe because to make their tour really special. And they were proud of their hidden gems, their special. Do you have some highlights? They come from you, and the other guides don't know.
No, we share everything.
You share, okay.
Because we want our guests to have the very best experience. It's not a competition. We are not. We are a small team in Greece of 10 guides.
Yeah.
And we regularly meet. We actually also exchange our knowledge. We have an online tour guide database where we put all the new discoveries in. Yeah. Of course, it gives a special touch to each tour, and we leave to every guide the freedom to decide, I think to this group we should do this because it's a special interest of the group, or they need some extras. They don't want to cycle so much, so we can shorten. We are very flexible.
Yeah.
And as everyone knows, as better it is for the tours. Yeah.
Yeah. And you need to improvise quite a lot.
A lot, because of the weather. We are very exposed to weather conditions in Greece. It's a country with quite strong winds, and the islands are not so well protected from the winds. So before we bother people with a very rough sea, we rather stay in a port, and from time to time, of course, when it's necessary. And we improvise, and that's why we really need to know all about all alternatives, to make a good decision for this specific group.
Now I know there's guided and non-guided tours. You only do guided tours or also non-guided?
No, I do only guided tours because so far in Greece we hadn't another option.
Because that was a stop. You can't do non-guided tours because then you're not there.
Yeah, then I don't need to be there.
Exactly, exactly. So but in Greece there are also non-guided tours.
No, we don't have non-guided, but we will offer from next year, as far as I know, at least the option of individual cycling, which is then probably non-guided.
Yes. You would call it that. Yes.
Yes.
And But okay, so you have the choice. You have the option to
Not
go on your
everywhere.
own.
Yes, not everywhere, because it's not so easy to organize. There's a big logistics also behind non-guided. Yeah. But we will do it with one boat next year, and if it goes well, we will probably adapt the concept to the other tours as well.
Yeah, you experiment. Well, maybe it's become easy because now people have GPS and get around more easily.
Yeah, but still there's a good option to get lost, and then it's not so easy. Yeah.
A good thing on these small islands, you always get back to the port finally.
Yeah, but not all islands are that small.
No, true. Okay, what are the hidden gems? What do people, for example, what didn't they expect from the Greece islands from your tours?
First of all, the mountains. They for sure didn't expect the mountains. Second, I think they are not aware of how open-minded and friendly the Greek people are. This hospitality is always amazing to people. How easy it is to get in contact with the locals. The food. Yeah, I think most people are not aware of what real Greek food is. We all have in mind what we get in European restaurants, at least. It's mountains of meat and fried things, but the Greek cuisine is exactly the opposite.
Yeah?
Yes, exactly the opposite. So Greeks don't eat much meat. They eat a lot of fish and seafood and lots of vegetables, salads. Yeah.
Very healthily.
Yes. Yeah, it's probably in combination with the Greek olive oil or any olive oil, the secret of the Mediterranean diet.
That Greek people get so old.
Very old. They have the highest living expectation in Europe. Yeah.
But how could you give me a nice example of their hospitality? Were you invited to their homes, for example? Really?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So you come by in a group and come in?
Yes, come in. I just picked some oranges. Do you want juice? Or I have a great sipuro, which is like a grappa. You have to try. And you think you get water, and then it's not water. So
okay.
Or they offer you some sweets, or just a beautiful smile is also hospitality to me. Yeah,
that's wonderful. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And on these, so you get grappa, and then you still have to go up the hill. That's a challenge. Yeah,
that's a challenge.
What are the other challenges when being on these tours?
For the guest or for a guide?
Both.
Okay. For a guest, I think it's mainly to get familiar to the accommodation boat, because people decide on it, obviously. But being on a boat is something you cannot imagine until you are there. Yeah. So it's, of course, our boats are quite spacious for what they are, but still, your cabin room is limited. In the saloon, you are together with other people. Yeah, everyone can find a quiet spot, but I think that's for the guests the most challenging. And then also the situation that a guide faces too. At the beginning of the week, you have 20 strangers in front of you. And if you manage at the end that they all leave as friends, then it's the greatest experience for a guide as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it unites, I guess.
Yes, yeah. So you get lots of hugs and tears of happiness, and also sadness that it is over. So, what can you ask? What else can you ask for?
You get Christmas cards from them, I guess.
I do.
And also, I guess, because it's cycling, but it's also being on the boat, sailing a lot. Do people get seasick or?
It happens from time to time, but it's not so often, because we explain also what to do then. So they have a very detailed safety instruction. So if you feel dizzy, what can you do? Yeah, in order not to get really seasick. And if there's a very rough sea, we just don't leave the port. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, to ruin the holidays. Yeah.
Because that is, of course, the difference, I guess, with boat bike tours in Europe. That you spend sailing time on the boat as a guest, while usually you're on the bike when the boat is sailing, right?
Yeah, but you cannot be on a bike when the boat is sailing to the next island.
Exactly, that's why. Then you have to. Yeah, you have to swim with your bike on your.
Yes.
On your that's difficult.
No, you spend quite a time on the boat while the boat is traveling. But this is also part of the unique experience you have, because watching from a boat to the land gives you again a totally different perspective than just watching from land to the sea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine. And how does you spend? How much time do you spend in Greece per year?
I'm living permanently in Greece. Yes.
Okay. No more rain for you.
Just a little bit.
If a guest if a guest would ask you, or a potential guest would ask you, should I join on the tour? What would you say to him or her to persuade him or her?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that he definitely should. Actually, it doesn't matter which European tour he chooses. They are all kind of the same. The concept is everywhere the same. If I would have to convince him about coming to Greece, I would tell him that he definitely has to. Yeah, it's a unique experience, as I mentioned before. It's the colors he will never forget. Yeah, about this blue and white and all this great history of Greece. I think it's an experience. If you come alone to Greece, you can see a lot, but you will not understand it probably in total. And if you do it with a guided tour, then it changes completely your perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
We're coming now to the end of this episode of the podcast. Is there one experience you think of I didn't ask you about? One very nice story you like to share with us?
Yeah, I had a very good story, which I'm still smiling about. It happened years ago. It's very interesting how less people know before they come. Yeah, and I was on the way to Delos, which is a very small island in the Cyclades, very close to Mykonos. And Delos was a very important place in ancient times, so it is considered to be the birthplace of the twin gods Apollo and Artemis. And I used the time that we were sailing there to explain people what are they going to see. And they were all listening very carefully. And then one guest told me, very good story, but what do you mean with BC and AD? Okay, let me explain you from the beginning. So there was...
there was a guy called Christ.
Yeah, no, this was a question actually later. I said, okay, BC is before Christ, AD is after death. And then she told me, but who is Jesus Christ?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, okay, no worries, sit down, I will explain you.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, amazing.
That's a different, interesting guest.
Interesting guest, yeah. Another guest was, again, Delos. It was a totally different visit, actually. He told me he was not aware that we will be there tomorrow. So he said me, I have to tell you a nice story. My wife and me, we are married now for 30-something years, and we did our honeymoon in Greece. And I said, okay, I will go with you to Greece, but only if you promise me that we will not see more than 60 columns. Oh, I said, that's interesting. So you're not so interested in history, right? No, not at all, he told me. And I said, okay, then you have to be very brave. Tomorrow we are going to visit Delos and you will see 10 times 60 columns at least. I said, what? And then he came. That's actually good because he could also have stayed on board. We'd never force people to do something they don't like. And then actually the same guest came back 2 years later and he told me, this visit to Delos changed my life.
Now I'm a column lover.
I'm a column lover. I said,
okay. That's a good thing. I think we could talk for hours about Greece and the tours
yes.
with you. Unfortunately, we don't have that time. I think people, when they want to hear more stories, they should come to Greece and meet you.
Yeah, that would be
Okay.
Very nice.
That's a deal. Thank you for listening. It was interesting. We learned that Greek islands have mountains. That's new. That the Greek people give you grappa when you pass them on a bicycle. And that it's a wonderful thing to do, and that it's not raining in Greece. So, well, we learned a lot. If you think, thank you for listening. If you have feedback, things we should improve about this podcast, please let us know. And hope to see you on next episode. Thank you. Thank you, Catharina.
Thank you too.